You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right.
Dokily.
Good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Happy Saturday.
Cheers.
Epa. Okay. Cheerios, guys. Happy Saturday morning.
Anything is possible.
Is it?
Except streaming this simultaneously on
Yeah,
Twitter Spaces.
we can't.
just cannot figure that out.
We were trying to
Can't
figure it out right before because, that's the way we, aka Douglas, works.
The Bitcoiners can do it. The Monero people should be able to do it. They have no problem.
We'll figure it out. It's just, lots of things going on. And then we tend to do it. Not we again.
I even
Douglas
ran
did it.
out to Micro Center this morning. Which
he's like running away. He's like,
happily, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
So
Yeah, it's right around the corner. So it's very convenient. So it's not like you went far. So calm down.
I almost got us a bagel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I was gonna
The
get
guy that never eats.
2 eggs, bacon, cheese.
Ooh, that sounded yummy.
I didn't want to slow us down though. That would have totally derailed us.
Well, it's not like we had time to eat it anyways. So we're trying to figure out the stupid spaces. It should be pretty easy.
Why does everything always have to be last minute?
Because that's the way you roll. I tried yesterday. Remember?
I know we tried.
I tried it with someone, and then we spent like a decent amount of time trying to figure it out. And then this morning he woke up. He's like, spaces. And yeah, that was it.
Let's move along.
Yeah.
We've been up to a lot.
Yeah, we've been up to a lot.
It's been a blur though. It's been non.
Yeah, well, we were away to FreedomFest last week, but we released 3 awesome episodes with the Giacomo and Seth.
Yeah, right before we left.
We threw them out in 3 parts. So if you haven't seen them yet, go do, because they're really, really good. Getting a lot of positive feedbacks.
Yeah, people are loving that.
Yeah, so I made a little playlist of the 3 just in case you don't feel like, if you feel like being lazy and
We ran into people at FreedomFest. They were like, "Oh, we just saw the Giacomo video."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, walking actually the day of. So that was pretty cool. So check those 3 interviews out, and then we also released one with Margot, the physicist.
Yeah, that one was a bit more controversial.
Yeah, so that was released.
People didn't like her take on ASIC mining. Either did I. Right. But it was an interesting conversation.
And and stay tuned for the Freedom Fest ones. We're working on those. We don't want to overwhelm people.
Freedom Fest was awesome.
It was awesome and a half. Thank you again to Monero.com wallet for sponsoring part of our trip, because that was awesome. It really was a great trip.
Our whole, what we're doing, guys, we're trying to go to events that aren't just, crypto conferences, but things that are more broad in nature, and then introducing Monero to this crowd. So the liberty-loving crowd is just the perfect early adopter crowd for Monero. So many people we spoke to at Freedom Fest they got it, they understood it. Not necessarily they thought Monero was the one that was going to fulfill the use case of digital cash, but so many people just understood the need for it. A lot of gold bugs, though.
A lot of gold bugs, yeah.
Let's bring on our first guest. Let's bring on our first guest.
That was our little
we'll do the recap.
Chit-chat, but yeah, we'll reminisce with this individual. Should be fun. But for that, let's put on our guest segment. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. Adam.
Hey, Adam.
How's it going? Oh, you're muted. Hold on.
You're muted.
Okay, now I unmuted you.
Wait.
Hello.
Whoa.
Top of the morning to ye.
Did you catch the intro?
Of course I caught the intro. Why would I miss your intro?
It's so funny.
Did you catch the special guest intro? Because you stood up. I don't know if you caught it.
Oh, you saw me stand up because I was running up to another room to grab some sample pallets because we might.
You're last minute like we are. You're
Oh yeah. last 10 seconds.
You didn't see your little intro. We usually have an intro, but it was so funny. I was like, well, let's get him on. You were right there. Then all of a sudden when I pressed play,
play it again. Play it again.
So
I
take get two, guys. Oh, the full experience.
Pull the rug out from under
Hold on. Stay tuned. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. That's what you missed out on.
We're proud of these.
That's what you missed out on. You did, but you're welcome for replaying it.
What's going on, man? So we're FreedomFest brothers. We became friends over the course of, I don't know, what, 24 hours?
It was 24 hours.
We became fast friends.
We were in the trenches of FreedomFest, working together side by side. Thanks for having us over there, by the way.
Thanks for bringing the coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Glad you enjoyed it. Did you really enjoy it?
I mean, it took a little while, but once
once setting up. It
was a slow process.
It was a slow
process.
We're like trying to talk to people. Then
we normally do the espressos at the conferences, which that makes a lot more sense.
Looking around machines, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But when I sell coffee here in New York on the street, I usually use the pour over. It's just easier to do. So we try to, but you can't pump out coffees.
Right.
There's a bottle.
Like people have to stand around and talk and like listen.
Yeah. But it's actually
Unless I had like
a terrible strategy.
Like 2 kettles and then like 4 pour overs.
Right. No, that's cool because then people just slow down and take.
Then you give them like a little paper. It says you're number 1, you're number 2. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But that would be gratuitous if I did something like that. That would be.
Ooh, that's what you remember. One of my favorite words.
What is this inside joke?
When I told him the name of the company, gratuitous.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, he started.
Gratuitous.
Gratuitous.
So, what was your take, man? What was your take on FreedomFest?
Well, I guess first off, you want to introduce yourself a little bit, just so for the people.
Sure.
We know who you are, but people do not.
So I'm no longer a nobody.
Yeah, you're exactly.
So, yeah. I'm Adam Friedman. I'm the a founder of a couple of projects. The one at FreedomFest I was representing is Rank the Vote. It's a national organization to build strong grassroots movements to advance ranked choice voting around the country as a next step for voting, a next kind of step in the evolution of voting in American quote unquote democracy. And then also founder of Severa, which is a civic technology company, and we're a direct vendor to governments, starting with state governments. We actually create publishing platforms to make election results a lot more transparent to the public, called Election Stats is the name of that product. And then we're working on a couple other products like campaign finance, public dashboards. We have one in Idaho called Sunshine, and then a court records project to make sure people, have oversight over the court systems in every state. So
how did you, end up going down this direction in life? What was the impetus?
There's a bunch of reasons. I mean, if you want to get real personal, which you didn't say you wanted to, but here we go. The story of my life, right? Like when I
It's everything out of you.
We're on Monerotopia, man.
Monerotopia. Is this what the revolution's all about? My father's father is a survivor of the Holocaust, my grandfather. And so I think he was in 2 camps in Europe. He went from like 230 something pounds to 70 pounds when he was liberated by US soldiers. He had a wife and 2 kids that were killed by the Nazis. He had 8 siblings, all but 2 were wiped out. His parents were wiped out. So he came here to rebuild his life. And that always stayed with me. I always knew some stories growing up. And it infused in me like a sense of public service from a very young age, that if you're not vigilant and active and involved, things can go very, very wrong very fast. So that's kind of a big thing that's driven me. And then I studied history. I went to Boston University, studied history, and just started learning a lot about the state of the world, the wealth inequality throughout the world, the economic, blockages in developing countries, and colonialism, and what are all of the questions and ramifications of that, and the generations after that era. So I've kind of thought, I just try to think of like what is the best things we could be doing to make the world better, and reduce suffering and spread prosperity. And so I kind of landed on voting, governance and voting, which is not necessarily the right answer. That's just what I guess I got into as an undergrad. And then, started seeing like our system is awash in private interests, favor trading and horse trading. And I wanted to find better systems. One problem that we have, if I can continue to wax on, is the, this idea that like the rest of the economy, like the private sector, computer technology, all this technology is flying. Like Moore's law is happening. Like we're getting more and more data being processed, more and more computational power, more and more innovation in all sectors of the economy. And then you look at the way we self-govern, and we're still sitting in like a 18th century paradigm where we have this aristocratic, these aristocratic legislative bodies. Now we get to elect them, but then they do pretty much whatever they want when they're in office, and then we kind of have to like beg and plead that they'll follow what people want, what their constituents want, and then we have a shot at voting them out if the right candidate comes along that is viable, if they have enough funding. And there's so many distortions in the way our political system works that's a very interesting and pressing problem, I think, for at least the U.S. So
yeah, we overlap a lot in terms of I think what we're trying to achieve. I told you I was working on Gov Together, and I tried implementing that in my campaign. So the idea being, I pledged if I was elected, I would then vote in Congress in accordance with how my constituents are voting on each individual issue.
Fantastic.
Well, I would use it as a poll for all, all constituents. We'd build out the tech. We'd have it where everybody would have, access, anybody who's a constituent, and just let them vote per issue,
I love it.
And then not necessarily then turn around and always follow that vote, but use it heavily, for deciding what to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's
cool that we met and you're equally passionate about these things. I don't think I ever even got your take on Monero. What is your digital cash take?
I'm
idea of a technology, unstoppable, decentralized protocol for people freely transacting value without censorship.
Exactly. I mean, how can you disagree with that? It's if everything else is moving into the digital realm, I don't see why currency shouldn't be included in that evolution or revolution. And it's more freedom, it's more liquidity, it's less friction, it's more freedom and liberty for everyone. So I'm a big supporter of it. I'm a holder of a few cryptocurrencies. I'm interested in the space. I think blockchain is a revolutionary technology. So I'm very optimistic. And actually, Doug, you got me my first Monero wallet, and you even packed it with a few coins.
It was easy, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was super easy.
Monero.com, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I even remember my seed phrase, so I'll tell you that now. It's oh wait, no, you're not supposed to do that. Sorry. My bad. I'm still learning the ropes.
That's why I fell in love with this guy.
We just laughed. That's why also we slowed down and we couldn't do a gratuitous call because we were just cracking up.
We were just making jokes sometimes. But tell everybody, we're working hard over there, right? We signed up a lot of people with Monero.com. I don't think people realize what we do. Like we hassle people and hustle them, and make them,
but then have conversations with
Monero
everyone. Like every single person we stop. It's like, it's not like, oh, here, bada bing, bada bing. It's like you have to have a conversation, explain everything.
We had so many amazing conversations at FreedomFest, man. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons. There's so many innovative and eccentric and interesting people there, which is great. I think a con would be we're in this huge exhibit hall and there's all these other really novel ideas. Like this is a place for new ideas to help. Yeah. Like you mentioned, early adopters, like first movers. That's similar. Ranked choice voting in a lot of circles is not well known. And so we were really, really siblings in arms, so to speak, in being out there with these new innovations to move our society and our economy and our politics forward. And so it takes a lot of time. A lot of like people who get into spaces like this who are activists, it takes time and they're impatient and they want change now. But so much of change is purely like like you said, having those conversations one-on-one, letting people read a few articles and sleep on it. And then in a week or two or a month or two, they hear about it a few more times. Then they start talking about it. And they start. But these things do take some time. So that's part of the problem. Is like, how do we accelerate the pace of the adoption of these new ideas? It's always something I'm wrestling with.
Yeah, I was really trying to tap into the digital cash concept and this idea that traditional cash is disappearing, because I feel like everybody there would be interested in that. Like, be like, yeah, cash isn't going to be here anymore, you know? So I was trying to use that as my gateway to talking about Monero. And then the response that unfortunately I ran into a lot was from, you know, no coiners, basically gold bugs that just like did not want anything to do with
They're
crypto.
Like, no, thank you.
Right? There's a
Yeah.
good percentage
A lot
of those
people were
people
like,
at
no,
Freedom
thank
Fest,
you.
but they were hardcore into their gold. You know, they were anti-fiat, but they wanted nothing to do with crypto. They really thought it was like a scam.
I think a big problem, and we're seeing it play out, and you can't argue actuality with theory. So if we see a lot of volatility in the space and instability and prices that are just like flying up and down, that needs to be addressed. You can't just wave it away, because a currency is only as useful as it is stable, I would argue. And many economists would argue, and many of these no coiners would argue. And so it's not like it's insurmountable. It's just the question of how do you back the currency with something that is stable. And gold is one option that's just been the traditional option for a long time. It's not the only one. A good friend of mine, brilliant guy, is an attorney, approached me the other day with this idea of a coin or a currency based on insurance risk pools. So this is kind of is way above my pay grade. It seems like a lofty concept to me, but the idea is, you know, insurance companies, it's all about the risk pool. So you have a huge pool of people who are insured that pay premiums into something. And then you have a company that kind of banks that capital and has to pay out when there's claims.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have that be the basis of a currency? So that's just like, there's a lot of, and you can attach it to.
Does that not exist? That seems like, well, yeah, that seems like a no-brainer. Yeah.
Maybe I need to do some more reading. I don't know. Just heard about it.
There's, you know, I don't know how reliable it is, but I would think somebody would have tried that already.
Yeah, but
like
these
that.
are things I think that are worth exploring. I think the idea of like, that's a question that needs to be answered and grappled with.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I honestly, the volatility of Monero doesn't, you know, have an effect on me, but I don't know how. Is it really, you know, stability? Everything's relative, obviously, right? That's so right. This idea of stability is really just your own individual perception. So if you start to view Monero as stable, it becomes stable. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what people like me are doing. You know, the BTC Max, like people that like are all Bitcoin and living. That becomes their reality. So it becomes stable in a sense.
In a sense,
and everything else around it is what's changing, right? So that's really what stability is. Like when you say the dollar is stable, it's just in your mind, you've decided to perceive the world that way, where that's your constant and you're measuring everything else from it.
Well, by you, I think you mean like there's a consensus because it's been so well adopted. And so
yeah, stability really
comes
comes from
they're not subjective though. You can measure these things objective, like how many loaves of bread can I buy with $1? Like that's something that this consumer price index is a thing that is objectively measured. So if we're gonna introduce a competing currency product, it's gotta compete. You're right, it's all relative, but it's gotta be as stable, close to stable, or more stable than the current offering that people are enjoying.
Right. And obviously that's just, you know, that's just something that can only come with time. I mean,
totally.
there are these attempts to make these stable coins, but I don't know. They seem to just be theoretical in nature, unless you're going to do something like you were saying, this insurance idea, or backing with, you know, with gold in a vault or dollars in a bank, which, you know, at that point it's not decentralized anymore. So a truly decentralized stable coin is kind of like the holy grail, and you know, Luna, right? Boom. You know, we have, I don't know if you've heard of Haven. Have you heard of Haven?
I haven't heard of Haven, no.
That's an attempt to make a stable coin version of Monero, essentially. Fork of the Monero blockchain. And, you know, it's an algorithmic stable coin. But, you know, it's not proven. It could, you know, there could be some flaw there. It's kind of theoretical. So, to, you know, that this ideally, you know, stability is something that would be great to have, but I don't see how you can't invent stability. I think it's something that just comes with time and adoption. Right? Ultimately, like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely beyond my skis in this. I haven't done a lot of study or analysis on that question. But
like, Bitcoin is certainly the most liquid, right? So it's gaining, you know, stability from that.
Oh yeah, that's right. As adoption is more broad, like this is still, I see this as a very experimental, emergent phase of all these coins. So it might take another 5, 10, or more years.
Monero's been surprisingly stable if you look at it, zoom out compared to other. Like, Monero's, you know, it's been going between, you know, $100 and $500 for years now, even between the last bubbles. It never. So it's unfortunately been very stable. Like, it's it never had its like
profiteer off of it. Right? The other ones,
it's like pumping moments over the last couple of years, which is interesting, but it's organically been growing in adoption. So
you never know. Yeah, it could overtake some of the big boys out there. All that profit making and the skyrocketing prices. They get headlines, which in a sense is good because it gets broad adoption by appealing to people's greed. But then obviously the downside is there's a lot of inflation and bubbles in those trends, and then they have to restabilize, and then it's like, so it's a very dramatic. The news loves it because it's just a beautiful, like, how do you make, you know, digital currency sexy and exciting and human and dramatic, and it, you know, people making and losing millions of millions. It was a great way to do that.
It's just a casino. It's like everybody's decided to, you know, make gambling legal. And
right. It's just more, it's still part of, to me, the experimental emergent phase that we're going to mature out of eventually.
It's been epic. The stories have been amazing, right?
Yeah, it's already, it's like barely put into broad practice, and it's still like changing the game, like changing paradigms and changing the world, which is pretty cool.
Did you know about Monero before
Douglas came into your life?
Before you walked into my life exhibit booth?
What is this Monero?
I had heard about it in passing, along with Cardano, and then there were a couple of other ones that were like the kind of Ripple XRP, right?
All right, so you've heard about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that, you know, I talk to, they have never heard of Monero. They think it's like on another blockchain. They're like, oh, what is that on Solana or something?
Solana, right.
Oh, it's Monero. It's its own thing.
They all sound
2014.
Some Italian name. Yeah,
like never heard of it.
Solana.
So
yeah, I think it's like top 10 or so of what you kind of see as the other altcoins past Bitcoin and Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
That's my perception.
Yeah, it's always been, anybody who's been in crypto knows Monero, like who's been in crypto for, you know, since before like 2015, I would say would at least know a Monero. But yeah, the new people, I mean, they get sucked into these other like, you know, more people know about Doge than Monero. Elon, thanks to Elon. What do you think about Elon, man? What's up with that guy? What's your take on Elon?
I think it's hilarious. From his Twitter profile.
What is he doing? I mean, he can't lose. Anything he does is
exactly like he's like a teenager, and it's funny. Like I don't get caught up in the trying to control people. Like he's the head of blah blah blah, so he needs to be more blah blah blah. It's like, it's funny. Like I don't get too deep into what.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm all about him doing whatever he wants, and it's entertaining. But what do you think his actual agenda is?
Okay. What's his end game?
Like, You know, we know your end game. You came on, you told us your story. I'm pretty well convinced you're passionate. You're a passionate, liberty-loving individual that wants to, you know, make sure tyranny never reigns again. I'm convinced. But like, what is Elon's stand? What is this guy trying to
do? Elon, I mean, the proof is in people's actions. I think that's the problem. Is we take like a couple of errant tweets. We're in such a mediated consciousness because everyone's on the internet all the time and following Twitter like Pavlovian dogs, like when the new thing comes and then they react to everything. And so people put a lot of weight into some guy sitting on, like Elon's probably sitting on his toilet, writing some stupid tweet to piss someone off, like trolling Bill Gates for, you know, shorting or suspecting of shorting Tesla or whatever. And the proof if someone's value to me is in their actions, not as much their little quips on something like Twitter. And so he's completely put EVs on the map. Like he's made EVs sexy and cool.
So the things he's gotten off the ground, it's insane. So
he's serious. Like he's doing serious stuff. That's amazing.
That's why you're like, so then why is he pumping like?
Oh, because we all need little.
His whole background, right? Like he was the PayPal mafia. Like he's understood digital cash before anybody was like.
That's right.
He like literally tried to invent Bitcoin back in the day, and they came up with PayPal. Obviously, they weren't able to create a decentralized currency. So he understands this stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, Doge, I'm going to pump it to the moon, and I'm never going to mention Monero ever." Like
that
what?
A little hard.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Do you want me to talk to him for you? I'll give him a call.
Can you do that? Get him on right now.
Okay. It's like your focus. It's like it's like when you're working on something, you lock into something. So I don't know. Elon maybe has a been there, done that mentality in terms of his relationship to digital currency. He made his money, so he might measure. And it's totally speculative, but aren't we all?
I love how we know. Think you know the answer.
It's fun. It's just fun. But yeah, perhaps he did his thing. He made his money. He feels like I contributed this piece. I'm moving on to a different part of problem solving, like a different problem to be solved,
right? With
a whole new set of constraints and rules and challenges. And so now it's like transportation and sustainable energy and and rockets, like going interplanetary travel. So there's a lot of cool. So he could have just like, he's just like rotating into his next thing because that's just what he fancies right now. And I wouldn't take it personally. You know, it's okay.
Nano Joe says Elon Musk is a former Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum young global leader. He's not on our side, folks.
Whoa. So this is wow.
I love it. You heard it here first. We got to do. Oh, nice. Get it up there.
Uh-oh. Well,
Nano Joe, you could jump on after when we have the viewers on stage portion.
Nano.
So Doge could be, he's like, it's fun for him. So you got to have a hobby, and he's going to, you know, maybe pick the coin that's like the silly one. I mean, who knows how many, I don't know. Who knows how many people like donated to Donald Trump's campaign early on thinking it was a joke, and it became real. Right. And he was a joke. He was like a reality TV guy who is a birther, you know, who's just like fixated on this very petty stuff, and using a lot of dog whistle tactics. Sorry to rove into that realm, but
tell us how you really feel.
Well, these things, but then they take on, it's like, is it serious? Is it not? And that's part of what's fun and interesting about it is like we make our own reality constantly. So Elon definitely plays with that. He plays with people's sense of, am I serious? Am I not serious?
Yeah, nobody can figure him out.
It's almost a form of guerrilla art.
He's like just testing the waters, to be honest.
It's an art form, folks. It's like a trickster in mythology, right?
Yeah,
the trickster.
He's amazing, man. He's amazing.
Right.
He's amazing.
Flattery may bring him to the table.
Yeah, amazing. Come on, Elon.
I would love to. Yeah, get it.
Keep working on
it. Find him somewhere.
He responds to stuff.
He's talking like he stalked Andrew Yang.
Yeah, we had. Well, Yang didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Yang didn't say anything.
Really? That's surprising.
No.
I tried. Well, first he was walking by as we were doing the coffee thing, and we called him out, and he kind of stopped. He was like, "Hey," and he just did the wave, and they were like, "Oh, come do a picture." So he came over and did a picture, and then I was like, "Can I interview you?" He's like, "No, no, 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 no," and then he just like ran away.
And then
So then I proceeded to grab. I'm like, grab the mic, grab the phone.
Oh, you went after him?
And I followed him.
Yeah,
We gave him like 5 minutes, and then I like tapped him on the shoulder from behind with the microphone. And you know, I quickly asked him like a digital cash question. I just wanted to get his take on digital.
Does he have an opinion on it? What did he say?
You know, there's negative opinions about it because it could be used for nefarious things. What's your response to that? And he just didn't say much. He was basically like, you know, I support, you know, competing technologies for, you know, currency.
End scene. And that was it. And then he
I was like, all right. I was like, I want to hear your, you know, your philosophical take on it. He didn't want to get into it at all.
Okay. It may be, crypto, there's some controversy around it still. I mean, there really shouldn't be, just because it's used. It's like, shouldn't there be controversy around around, you know, paper dollars, because it's in briefcases being used for drug deals and prostitution, and, you know, that's normal paper US dollars. Like, so it's kind of silly that these neutral tools have been painted as, you know, as the problem. It's really, everything is just tools. Like, you could take anything in your life and blame it if you use it for nefarious reasons. So if he may want to avoid, you know, it might feel like he's going to step into some sort of controversy or something.
No, I know exactly, but I would think he'd be the type of character that would be
who would champion it. I agree with you. It may be that it's a bit of a sideshow in terms of politically, like because he ran for president. So when you run for president, you start to, you know, he talked about ranked choice voting a little bit as running for president, but it's not going to be a mainstream bullseye issue this soon in history. So,
like, you know, Bruce Fenton, the guy that's running for senator.
Yeah, not well, but
yes. So I mean, I spoke to him. You know, his reaction right away with regards to digital cash. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously, but he comes from crypto, but. You know what I'm saying? He's very clear. He's like, you know, as a senator, I would completely support, you know, untraceable, unstoppable digital cash. You know, like not too many electeds are saying that right now. But I would think Yang would be a politician that would be an early adopter in that. I'm surprised not there yet.
I'm also surprised. Maybe keep working on him because he can come around. If maybe it'll be used for if he's watching some of these, you know, universal basic income pilots, maybe the payouts to the participants can be with a coin, with a digital currency. That may be an interesting angle for
yeah. Well, I heard people talking that he was going to drop that from his platform.
Maybe at FreedomFest. That was being talked about.
Yeah.
FreedomFest, that's like socialism. So I don't, you know, he's a politician, so whatever space I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Again, I'm speculating. I mean, I know that when we talked, he was super enthused. I said, where are you with ranked choice voting? Is it like top 3? He says probably top 1. He's really, really bullish on ranked choice. And I think it may be because that's closer to a clear and present issue in terms of electoral politics and his own.
Yeah. If he doesn't grasp that, then like shit. Yeah.
When you're an independent or third party candidate in this current system, it's really hard to be on an even playing field with ours.
Yeah, it's all upside for him on that. Sure.
Right. So that could be a thing. And they did pass it in New York City, so that's, you know, and he ran in that race and
he
got
cool, man. What else did he say?
A lot of attention. About that or about other?
Yeah, general. Yeah, what was he talking about?
Well, he wasn't. I mean, he's the bits I heard from his main stage talk was a program called BRO, which is ballot access, ranked choice voting, and open primaries. So he and Larry Sharp, who's a big spokesperson for Liberty, who's in New York as well.
I interviewed him. He that was a great convo. We had a nice.
Yeah,
Go
he's a
ahead.
very candid guy.
Yeah.
They were really big on structural reform of elections, which is great to hear. You don't hear enough people talking about that, so that's really important that they went on that. So ballot access is just there's unfair rules for non-major parties in states where they have different requirements, like for signature collection and ballot access to get their name on the ballot, and then open primaries is the idea of collapsing party primaries into a blanket primary. Anyone can run under any party. There's no limit, and then all voters can freely vote in it. They don't have to be registered for a political party to participate in the first round of a two-round system. So that's exciting, and there's ballot measures for that going on. Alaska just passed an open primaries plus ranked choice voting ballot issue in 2020. That's going to be used for the first time this year. So that's called the top four system. So everyone runs freely in the first round, and then the top four proceed to the final, and then you use a ranked ballot to pick your majority winner there. So that's cool. Nevada has that. That's coming on the ballot. It'll be 2 cycles of that because it's a constitutional amendment for Nevada. So that was being talked about. Yang's forward party that he's trying to start is a huge force behind that effort in Nevada. And there's a couple other states. Arizona may contemplate it. Colorado may. So we're gonna start seeing some changes in the country, which is cool.
I didn't hear his talk. Did he talk about the forward party? I don't even know what his.
I didn't hear enough of that. I ran into I was doing a bunch of other stuff and talking to people, so I only heard those bits on the structural reform stuff. Yeah, but starting a new party is really, really, really hard.
Yeah. What do you think of using using blockchain tech for voting, right? So one person, one vote, and using private key cryptography to basically ensure that.
I'm still
talking about that.
I don't know if Yang's talked about that. I'm still studying it, but I do know there are startups working on this.
Yeah,
I'm a supporter so far. I think it's fantastic. I actually see the blockchain as a wonderful tool for any government publication that you want to put up in a trustless manner that can't be tampered with. I'm sure you've explored this.
we say it should be Bitcoin for governments, Monero for the people, right? So you have Bitcoin being perfectly transparent. Let's run things on top of that, for the governments, for anything where you're basically trying to timestamp,
right,
and keep a permanent record of something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean that you're stuck with it. You can edit it later, but there's a trail that, hey, we're editing it for this very transparent reason later in the chain.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to amend it in this other entry, but the original is always there. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Like property records, a big problem in the developing world in many countries in Africa are land records are not in a good state. So people can squat on someone's farm or a plot of land, and the family that maybe originally owned it comes back, and now there's a big conflict, and there's no clear line of ownership, and that causes a lot of violence and conflict in society. So but if you have a registry of deeds, that's the point of a registry of deeds. It's one public repository of everyone's land deed. But if it's the infrastructure of the country is not strong, or there's civil war and things get damaged or lost, you're really screwed. You don't have any.
Oh no, it's a huge problem.
So that's a brilliant solution for that.
Yeah. I don't even think I told you I work for municipal. Did I tell you I work for municipality?
We didn't talk extensively about it, but
okay. So yeah, now I work for Nassau County. Before that, I worked for the town of Hempstead, and I tried implementing a lot. I tried to get them to implement some of these ideas. I was pitching it to them. I mean, they thought I was crazy. This was years ago. I tried to get them to set up Bitcoin miners for a solar panel landfill project. We were going to cover a landfill with solar panels and, generate decent amount of electricity. And this was years ago before now it's kind of talked about. I was like, instead of using the batteries, let's set up Bitcoin mining farms. And when we need to push power there, instead of pushing it back to the grid, we'll mine Bitcoin. And they They did not take it well, right, Sunita?
No, they did not.
They did not take it
amazing,
well.
Doug.
I slipped it into it because I was the
That was
commissioner
hilarious.
of engineering at the time. So I had, I was able to do things without, asking for permission for everything. So I actually slipped it into an RFP where I asked all the participants to explore this concept. And some of the electeds did not appreciate it. I saved the emails to this day because
Would love to read this.
I was so proud, and then I resent it to them because they had eventually left politics. And
then you're like, all right, let's try.
Later, it's like,
did it go better the second time around? Like, did you had better?
I mean, there was nothing you could say at that point. It was so obvious. They're like, wow, this kid was right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's all math. If you have people that have been working for too long in one role and they're just out of date. They don't want to keep up with new technologies.
No.
And it's really hard to change their opinion.
Listen, dude, two things. One, I could talk to you for days, and I know you got to go. But we got to talk more about these concepts. Maybe we could collaborate.
I'd love to.
On a
I'd love
project.
to. We're definitely on the same wavelength with this, so
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential here.
Like I said, I still work in municipal government. I would love to try to implement these concepts. I don't know if I would ever run again for office, but if I did, I try to do it on a platform that would utilize and promote like the latest in democracy tech. 100%.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Let's move along, right?
We're
gonna do the price report. Adam, obviously,
Thank
please
you
stick
so
around
much.
if you like, because we have people come up. But I think you
Sure.
said you were short on time, so
yeah, unfortunately, I'm short on time.
We appreciate all the time you gave us already.
Thank you.
Do we have like 2 minutes to do a quick ranked choice voting pitch just for our
Oh,
viewers?
100%. Yeah.
So I've been saying ranked choice voting. They might be like, "What the heck's ranked choice voting?" Yeah. So just to be sure, right? So I had brought a little sample ballot, which makes it pretty easy to see. So the idea of the ranked ballot is that instead of just choose one candidate, which is how we vote now, right? So what I'm going to do to simulate that is to show like a ballot where this is like, let's say we're revisiting the 2016 general election, and we have a ballot that looks kind of like this, right? Let me try to get that real close.
There you go.
And so you just get to pick one. But if you're a voter who doesn't support one of the front runners, you're really in a stuck place, because you know that voting for someone else who's not a front runner or the best fundraiser, you're basically throwing your vote away. It's like economically irrational to do that, because you know they're going to get, and worse, they could be a spoiler for someone you actually want to beat, the person you hate who's a front runner. This happens time and time again, up and down the ticket in our elections. And it's like so with ranked choice voting, you actually finally have a more expressive ballot. So instead of just choose one, I'm going to unfold this. And it's not so much a big change to the ballot as it's just an addendum or an amendment to the ballot. It just gives you more power, more expression, more voice, and more choice. So instead of just choosing one, I'll choose my favorite, whoever that might be. I have backup choices, so I can choose a second, third, fourth, and so on. So if my favorite can't win the election, my vote will instantly count for my second or third choice. And that way, my vote is never thrown out. It's always in play, and every voter truly has a stake and has a voice in the election. And it unleashes a lot of new incentives that are being suppressed in the current system. One is, of course, voters feeling that they have to vote strategically and they're forced to vote for a front runner. So that's a form of dishonesty, and we're doing that collectively, so we're actually getting distorted results. The other is candidates pander to their base, and they also pander to finding flaws in their opponents to differentiate themselves. And so it devolves into toxic character assassination and mudslinging. With ranked choice, you actually want to appeal to your opponent's base and find a common issue so that your opponent's base ranks you somewhere else on their ballot. That is a revolutionary idea in terms of trying to grow or transcend this toxic political culture that we have now, which voters are sick and tired of it. So much propaganda and character assassination. So the simple change, simple addendum to the ballot, massive repercussions for voters and candidates alike. So that's
are you seeing any data that supports that theory that it's going to change?
We are polling and sentiment analysis in regards to incidences of negative statements have been shown to be reduced under ranked choice when you compare it in the same cities that did not have ranked choice to having ranked choice, the cities that fit the same demographic factors. So Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota were subjects of this. I believe the cities in the Bay Area that adopted, like Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley, have also been subject to this type of study. And I've got slides for days on this stuff that we could go into. Yeah,
dude, I love it, man.
Yeah, the research is really exciting. It's coming out now. New America is a think tank that's been funding a lot of good research, hosting a lot of research.
When did New York do it the first time? Was it just?
Yeah,
when did New York City do it? It was just
New York City passed. So the voters passed ranked choice voting for their local primary elections to be used for local primaries. They passed this in 2019. With 74% in favor to change over to the system, and then they used it for the first time They used it for the first time for the mayoral election that just happened.
And you partook in that? You were part of that implementation?
I was in Massachusetts. I built a massive movement in Massachusetts while that campaign was going. That's a separate organization. So Rank the Vote New York City is their own organization. Brilliant strategists. They really made this whole thing happen. Rank the Vote is a different national group. We just share the same name coincidentally. It's just a cool name.
So this guy says, programming guy, ranked choice voting seems too confusing. It's really not, though. I mean, you're asked to select your top choices in order, right?
If you can count 1, 2, 3, and you have
everybody has in their head, it's like for every election, it is granular. You're right. I mean, some people may be like, oh, I like this guy and I hate all others, but most people are like, well, I like this guy for this, I like that guy for that, I like this guy for this.
Exactly.
Like in your head,
and they're already ranked in your mind. Just
that's how we see the world.
I guess what's confusing is understanding how the voting then works from there.
Yeah,
but it works the most logical way possible, where your vote counts the most, right? That's essentially is what it's designed to do.
So we can throw some links up for folks. The counting is very easy. It's an instant runoff. So if those are
so he's saying, so who wins? Is his question.
Oh yeah. So it's simple. So you start by only counting first choice votes of the voters. So you don't look at the rankings at all. And if any candidate has more than 50%, more than a majority, or has a majority of first choice votes, they win the election. So you don't even need the rankings, because it's a system to get the majority, not to get a 22% winner out of 8 candidates or whatever, which is what we have now. So if you can win on first choice votes, great. But the point of ranked choice voting is when there's that split field, whether there's a potential spoiler or a crowded field. And then you begin eliminating the weakest candidates. So the candidate that got the fewest number of first choice votes, they're dropped. And then those voters now get their second choice activated. And so the candidate still remaining that picks up those second choices, they get a bump of votes. And you continue to eliminate the weakest that's remaining until the first candidate hits the 50% threshold and they win. So it's super similar. It's almost the same to how we do runoff elections now, where we have everyone runs in the first round. You cut off everyone but the top 2, and then you vote again. But instead, you're doing a runoff instantly in a single election, because you're storing who you would vote for of the remaining candidates should your candidate be eliminated, because it's the weakest.
Yeah, no, it seems like it makes total sense for so many reasons, all the reasons you were talking about. But I mean, it allows these third parties to start to compete. Right, it becomes
that's right.
It opens
and
that, and your vote is never a waste, right? So even if you're more frequently are voting for these alternative candidates, your vote still ultimately counts.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
well, thanks, guys. This has been amazing.
This is more of a Monero talk than a Monero talk,
seriously.
But we had to go deep.
Yeah, when you can, just email me all those links so I can put them in the description. for people that want to learn more on their own?
Yeah, actually, while I'm here, I'll just do that. If you bump me off, that's fine, and I will just.
Yeah, it's in the private chat. I messaged you privately. All right, coolio.
People are enjoying this conversation.
Got
it. All right, awesome. All right, well, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you last weekend. Or was it last weekend? It was last weekend. Whoa.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Time flies.
I just had another thought.
Yeah, I see your head. Okay, enough.
There was actually this group. Remember there was the attempt to do the blockchain voting, and there was this group in Italy that was trying to do it with the fork of Monero.
I
remember that?
We interviewed
it was crazy.
them
This was
actually.
years ago. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, we interviewed them. It was like these three.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I wonder what happened with that. Just throwing that out there as information.
He's thinking out loud. Well, thank you very much, Adam. We'll
thank you guys.
Offline. Ta-ta. Adios. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye. All right. I guess let's move on to the price report. aFungible did a pre-recorded one, and I'll put it on right now. The Monerotopia price report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer.
All right.
Why isn't it playing?
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great this weekend. I'm coming back with the price report number 28, but I'm going to discuss some interesting data. I'm going to discuss three specific data points in this. The very first thing is about the upcoming events, which is going to mark the economic landscape for the next many months. And the second is about the price analysis, both on-chain data as well as some of the technical analysis to project where the price might be going in the short to medium term. And the last one is one of the concerns that was brought up by the XMR community about using USDT on centralized exchanges, and that could be a cause of concern. So let us move on to the data. So there are three important dates that might be of interest to everyone, each one of us, because it's going to affect invariably our portfolio in a positive or a negative way. So the very first of which happened the previous week is the release of the CPI data, which is the Consumer Price Index data released, where we saw the all items index rise by 9.1%. Where the largest contributors were an increase in gasoline, shelter, and food prices. This is basically an inflation increase, which has marked a new 4-decade highs. So that's something we have not seen such an increase in the last 40 years. And the inflation data that was released not only continued to increase in the month of June, but the data actually got worse than expected. So, and that has been a cause of concern. And this not just in the US, but it's been worldwide, and we have seen uprisings in many countries right now as we speak, including Albania and Venezuela and all the developing countries. But however, this is happening more towards the South American and the Western nations. Asia has been doing pretty much okay, with some issues cropping up in China as we speak. However, this is an important concern. That's why we're going to have the Fed meeting, which is going to announce the interest rate hikes on July 27th, which is a really important date to mark, guys, because they have proposed an interest rate hike of 75 basis points, going up to 100 basis points. Just for reference, 1 basis point is equal to 0.01%. So 75 basis point means 0.75 percent increase in the interest rate, and this is done to counteract or to bring down the inflation numbers, hopefully, because it curbs the consumer spending. And they can go harder on this, but that's going to have more consequences. So it's a very delicate move. And on the very next day, it's going to be the US Q2 GDP numbers, the gross domestic product, and if that is found to be negative, without a debate, US is officially in a recession, and thereby the countries that are dependent on the US economy. Moving forward, another interesting part was this is the chart I showed before the US Euro parity, which reached funnily 1.0. And so what the ECB, the European Central Bank, did is they increased the interest rates by 0.5% for the very first time in 11 years, something they never thought they would have the need to do. And this brought back some positive sentiment, but this could be temporary because everything has consequences. Now, moving to the charts part, since the last week, we have come back above from the extreme fear to the fear levels, which is a welcoming news, basically. And also, I happen to see that for any bull bear cycle, from the lowest points in a bear cycle to the topmost point in a bull cycle, I'm talking about in terms of the fear, lowest fear versus the highest greed, it takes about a maximum of 1.5 years. So if we are here in the lowest point in fear in June, so you can project that until the end of 2024, where we would get a real kind of FOMO. Sorry, the end of 2023, where we can expect a real kind of FOMO. This is just a conjecture based on the past data. I'm going to discuss a couple of charts related to the on-chain data. This is the Bitcoin investor tool data from Look into Bitcoin, where it shows the lower bound is the 2-year moving average of Bitcoin, and the red line on the top is the 2-year moving average multiplied by an index of 5. So the regions that you see marked in red are the places where the price has been overbought, and the green is basically the price where the Bitcoin has entered into a bear market. So if you try to understand what is the kind of time period that Bitcoin stays in this particular region, which I would say is the bear region or the accumulation phase, is about here you would see it's about December to December, about 1 year, and this is about November to May, about 6 months. So we can expect an average of up to a year in this kind of bear region. Basically, we entered this bear region below the 2-year moving average around April, May. So we can expect us to come back above this sooner than April 2023 or earlier than April 2023. That is something that we have to wait and watch. The next in line is the briefly discussing about the active wallets that have greater than 1 BTC. And interestingly enough, the number of traders and investors having active addresses in Bitcoin has sharply increased since the February of this year. And this is a welcome news in terms of the adoption cycle. Now I'm going to move on to the technical price action. This is the chart. I'm going to just display one of the videos that I made 15 days back in the previous price report. And let me come back to that. I do see us going back up because all the RSI is oversold, and we need to, in all likelihood, I would expect us to touch back 25,000, get back down, and it's going to be in this consolidation, very boring phase where the demand is neutral. There's not much buying happening at the moment, although selling could happen should the entire stock market go down again. And coming back to the present day, the charts, we see the RSI is getting back up, which is a positive news, but we are still in the oversold territory, guys. I see ourselves ranging between the 20,000 to 30,000 levels for the coming next few weeks, and the best case scenario being 30,000 as the major resistance, and there is also 36,000, but I'm not going that far yet. But we have to have a weekly closing above 30,000, but I don't see that happening at the moment. I've been harping about the 20 to 23,000 price levels and getting back up above that, which is the 200 week moving average. So I see us flirting and going around those levels for the coming weeks. And in terms of the XMR USD chart, I have also said that $120 is a very is going to be proving a great support, and $180 is going to prove a great resistance ahead. And I'm eyeing the time period of August 13, where the hard fork is going to take place, which is going to bring significant improvements in the Monero's blockchain and currency as a whole. And there could be some positive sentiment around that, and we can rally up above towards $180 in the coming weeks. So I am keeping an eye on that and checking that $120 levels holds very good, irrespective of the market sell. And the last in line is the XMR USDT volumes on exchanges. And I made some numbers from the centralized exchanges and found that 70% of the volumes is coming from USDT pairing with XMR. And the rest 30% is mostly the BTC and fiat pairs with XMR. So this can be a cause of concern should USDT Tether go in line with Luna and other stable coins that has historically tumbled down. I'm not saying that should happen, but should that were to happen, it's good to keep an eye on this particular trading pair. And this data does not involve the decentralized exchanges that have been coming up. Well, that is all from my side for today. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I would see you in the next price report. Bye-bye.
Well, hello, we're back.
Just
That was
taking
awesome.
notes here for a second. Yeah, that was awesome. The content is fantastic.
You're like,
What?
no, yeah.
Moving on. Should we do?
Yeah, we'll move on. Actually,
Let's-
we have
let's get-
yeah. I
lots to
just
talk
wanted to
about.
see. Sorry, I was like fixing that up. You want to talk about anything?
I wish
or-
aFungible was here. I could ask him
Yeah,
some
he
questions.
wasn't able to join us, but maybe
But
next week.
viewers, when we do viewers on stage, we'd love.
guys can
Let's
chat
let's
about
talk
it.
about price a little bit. Just things are pretty wild right now. So
All right, and we have well, not a news segment, but we have our news segment, which usually Doug does, but we are trying something new.
we have a new
we have
news
a new
reporter.
Yeah, we have a new news reporter who couldn't really join us live, but he pre-recorded something, so we're all looking forward to see.
Get
how it
ready,
comes out.
guys. I don't even know who it is.
Oh, really? All righty. And now for our weekly news segment. Check it out.
Hey guys, welcome to this
Oh, we're
week's
loving
news
it.
section. Let's dive in. For the first thing, Cake Wallet has a new update in which there's
Oh,
a
no,
couple
it's delayed.
fixes with Haven, QR codes, and you're also allowed to buy with new currencies for Wire and MoonPay. There's UI improvements, so you should definitely update your Cake Wallet to the newest version. My Monero has a new update as well for Android and iOS mobile device users, so you should definitely update my Monero as well. Now let's go back to Cake Wallet because Cake Wallet is going to have a gift card integration in the mobile app itself. So now you'll be able to buy gift cards with Monero, with Bitcoin or Litecoin through the app. And these apps are redeemable at over 150,000 US locations. You can buy exact amount like 45.76. You don't have to buy 45 or 40, 50 or 100. You can buy exact amounts for exactly how much you want the gift card to have. And this is a little demonstration video of a gift card purchase at Domino's Pizza. It's very easy to purchase, very easy to use. And these are all very positive things for Monero because the circular economy is getting bigger and easier to use. And this is why Monero
I guess it kind of froze. Oh, here. That was funny.
All right, guys. Maybe
Sorry
maybe
about
next
that. Maybe next week.
I think
That was slightly disastrous.
we got to let's just post
Yeah,
that
we'll
separately as
post
its own
it
video.
separately so people can
Yeah.
watch it on
And
their
then
own.
next time you're gonna have to stream it.
Yeah, because what happened
natively.
was, he did it for the first time this time, and the file was too big. Because usually I upload it natively onto StreamYard, just like I do the aFungible,
Yeah.
but his was too large.
Yeah, that's
So I
what
had
you
to
need
share
do.
screen. Yeah, I'm just
Well,
explaining it to
there's
the
a
couple.
limit on what you could upload to
Yeah.
StreamYard?
Yeah, like per
Uh,
segment. It's like 10 minutes, but the thing
Okay.
is also the file I think itself was very large. So
Oh shit. Okay.
so we'll post it on its side.
Tony.
But I
that
guess what
sucks.
we'll do, I know, kind of stinks.
So can Tony jump on for a second or no?
No, he cannot at the moment. But next week we're prepared again.
All right,
This
we're
is the
gonna
first time.
post that video on its own
Yeah,
after,
we'll
and it'll
do that.
be.
So we don't want to torture you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for being patient and for all the love. But I guess what we'll do
And
is
then
we'll move on to the
moving forward,
Yeah,
Tony will be our news reporter.
yeah, news reporter. And if it's pre-recorded again, now we know. We'll move on to the viewers on stage segment for those that want to join in on the fun and chat with us a bit.
Let's do it.
It's the viewers on stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down. Again, I gotta change that
That's
one.
how we
but
do it
anyways,
here, guys. We do it live. We do it live.
we
We
do
keep
it
on
live.
rolling.
We keep on rolling. But thank you for your patience. Oh, someone wrote always entertaining.
Just need all
going.
flustered with our
I know
hair.
my hair is all over the place because I took off my heads. So it kind of went along with the scene, actually, in the environment. So I thought, actually, that was pretty funny. But anywho's, hi,
What's going on?
Poland.
Who we got?
Hi.
Hey, what's going on, man? We got MB. What's up, man?
How's it
Hi
going?
there. Where's my picture?
You have no picture. I don't know what
What
happened.
happened? Is it going up?
The That's work?
No, it's not white. It's black.
Yeah.
And then
no.
Poland is orange.
So
Oh.
the pictures aren't displaying.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know why.
StreamYard.
What?
Shutting us
Anyhow.
down.
What?
I
Okay.
know. It's orange, but I guess, yeah, Poland, I guess. Hi. You want to
Halloween.
introduce yourself? Happy Halloween.
Wait a second. I will be pass a minute or two.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Hi,
MB, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Hi there. So the news segment kind of
Yeah.
cut off.
Yeah, we
Wanna be our-
apologize.
No, he said he can talk, actually. So you want to.
yeah, the news. I can talk about the Cape Wallet news. So they have a new feature coming soon, where you can have gift cards with a custom amount. So if you like at, I don't know, Taco Bell, and you want to get that $5.60 taco, you can pay with Monero and get a gift card with that amount, so you don't waste anything.
Yeah,
So
it's
that will be cool.
extremely exciting. It's kind of like Dash Pay, right? They Dash.
Yeah, it's
like that, yeah.
exactly like that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, the only thing I don't
Yeah.
like about it is now I'm going to be spending even more Monero.
Uh-oh.
It's going to make it. It's. I'm very excited for that. Did they say when it's launching?
I think within a month, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, they were just like waiting on something, right?
Yeah, they also had another feature that was exchange routing, and that just means if you like exchange Bitcoin for Monero, it will always pick the best rate from the exchanges that are included within Cake Wallet. Yeah, I think that's basically it. In other news, Sarai DEX, it's a new liquidity pool based DEX that's being worked on for Monero.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah, it's so I think Justin made a remark that it will probably be ready before before ThorChain launches their Monero integration, which would be really interesting because they've been working on it for like a year at this point. But I guess they didn't put much priority onto it.
Yeah, we have Luke lined up to come on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so very excited to talk to him about that. That kind of came out of nowhere. That's
Yeah, it was
really
surprising, but very nice. Yeah.
What do you think about it? I mean, just the concept of what they're trying to achieve, creating these liquidity pools, something like ThorChain. Do you think it's a sustainable concept?
I mean, ThorChain kind of shows that it will work probably. Like if they don't mess up the tokenomics of the Sarai coin. ThorChain does a little. I mean, they do a lot of random stuff that isn't really important to the core trading of assets. Like they have like synthetical assets and rune bonding and all that extra stuff. But I think this Sarai DEX will be very great for Monero because it just focuses on the trading via liquidity pool. And it's really important because stuff like Haveno will be great, but it's going to be way slower and way less easy to just trade for Monero because it's still peer-to-peer. But with pools, all this gets way easier and quicker.
Do you know anything about like I mean, is there a dev tax and how the coins are issued, and are you familiar with any of that?
So I talked to the dev with the let me see. Yeah, I talked to Kayava on Discord. I tried to understand it. They will probably launch the liquidity pools, and you can essentially buy their coin by providing liquidity. And then there's like a lock period. It's kind of confusing for people who don't do DeFi. I'm sure they're gonna provide more documentation on this, and most of it isn't final yet, so we'll probably have to wait and see.
No, very exciting. Anything else you want to bring up in terms of news this week? Thanks for doing this, by the way, pointing out these important developments.
Not sure. Did anything else big happen? There were some community crowdfunding proposals that got moved on. Other than that, I'm not sure. I got a little own personal thing. We launched a new sticker design. It's the same Monero anonymous money sticker, but in metallic, so it's golden and shiny.
Awesome. Where do you sell them?
Monerosupplies.com.
You sell like you could order big bundles of stickers, right, from you?
Yeah, for the regular design, you can get like 1.5 kilograms of stickers for that cheap. The other designs are a bit more expensive, but that's because they're lower volume.
People are always asking. I got to remember to tell them. Can you post that in the Monerotopia Telegram?
In the Telegram, okay.
Yeah, post the the link and explain how people could buy cheap stickers there, and they could pay obviously with Monero, right, for the stickers.
Yeah, you can only pay with Monero.
Yeah. I think we've ordered from you before, right? Didn't we get a whole bunch?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stickers from somebody that
I
was.
think you ordered from my predecessor.
Oh, okay. Well, we may have to refresh an order.
Yeah,
actually.
we do.
Currently,
Let's post it right now. Let's get it up there right now. Actually,
I'm currently running a little dry on the regular design. I have to have some more printed.
Okay.
So
I guess when you're ready, let me know and send me the link.
Yeah, share
sure.
the link right now. We'll put up the website.
I guess there you go.
And then put it in the Monerotopia Telegram room, and I'll pin it to the top for some time so people remember it. Because people are always.
I'll write something up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it will probably take like about 2 weeks till I get more of the regular design. So right now, if you like the other designs, you can get the smaller things, but maybe hold off on getting the big orders.
Okay.
Somebody said there's been a lot of echo and delays in the news segment, and price recordings played today. Oh, the price recording one too?
No, just I told you it was a little bit because you wanted to talk, and then I pressed unmute, but it was only for a second.
He's like, we didn't see this before. We apologize. I don't know what happened today. Well, next time, like we said, we'll play the video natively.
Yeah.
For that should fix that.
And now we know you can't speak during the price report because I know that's why you wanted it.
We're improving, guys. Come on, you got to give us that. We're at least improving.
I know.
We're we have our ups. We like improve. We add something, and then we crash back down.
I know
you
got excited. You jinxed
it. But the trend is ultimately up. We're like Monero.
He was like, "This was an awesome show." I'm like, "You jinxed it." So we started falling apart after.
It's still great. It's got character.
But
I actually wanted to ask you guys something. For gratuitous, what kind of payment gateway do you use?
We use the Monero gateway.
The Surhack one.
Yeah.
Okay. Will you disable the option to buy stuff for the hard fork or not?
What do you mean? Will we stop accepting Monero during the hard fork?
Yeah, like for a short time before and after, because
we can.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do because I don't know if the gateway will handle the transactions after the hard fork.
We didn't even consider that. Why? What do you think could possibly? I mean, it will just glitch, if anything, right?
I mean, it could just ignore transactions.
Yeah,
probably
not. We've had some issues. Not gonna lie, we've had some issues with it, but then it's weird. It kind of over time, it's worked more smoothly. Yeah, it was a little clunky at first. But now it seems pretty reliable. We'll know again once we start selling tickets for Monerotopia.
For me, it's been rather stable. The only thing is, it doesn't really show you when someone pays more. So sometimes I just click on a random order and it shows that someone paid a bit more than they actually had to, and it's just kind of confusing.
Yeah. For us, actually, not so much a Monero gateway problem. Probably a way to solve it, but we would have like dropped payments because of the volatility. So people would pay a certain amount, and then through, the WordPress, like the WooCommerce thing was telling us, payment wasn't met or sent, because they didn't send enough.
Okay. I had
an issue
one time someone paid and it just didn't show up, and I think I actually have to send out that order because I forgot about it. Okay.
Do you know how to solve that? Is there like a settings to change or like a?
There's very little settings in that thing.
Yeah. So, but for gratuitous, it's been working. Right? We set it up. Yeah, we changed it over to that. Yeah, it's great.
It's fixed. Yeah, it's pretty smooth actually.
A lot of gratuitous news coming up too, but things are in the works.
Yeah, things are in the works. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But anywho's, hi, CodingCowboy.
Oh, guys, order coffee though, because we got a ton of more green beans coming up. Right? They're on their way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle placing this order.
Well, we got to figure out the shipping next week. So.
But
it's
guys,
order
some beans. They'll be super fresh.
So fresh and so fresh.
Who else we got?
We got CodingCowboy, but I wasn't able to hear you. Hello.
Are you able to hear me now?
Now we can.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. I'm just jumping on to add numbers to your stream.
Aw, appreciate that. Thank you.
You were asking questions about the ranked voting, right? Was that you?
Yeah, I was.
No,
yeah, well, the thing is that, in most places, you already have people that can't fill out a normal voter card.
Yeah.
How are they going to figure this out, Because there's rules around it. Can't just, Christmas tree it either. And not only that, but a lot of people don't even know the other candidates that are running in a race until they get to the voting booth. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know this person existed.
This is true. I wish he was
anything
still
about
here.
him.
I wish he was still here. He could give you.
So that's why I was saying it was confusing, is because, well, it's not going to be as simple as, oh, we're just going to do this. It's going to take some, education on the part of the people doing the, putting out the ballots and everything. The most people, at least in my area where I live at, most of them are volunteers, and they just hand you the card and check your ID, and away you go. They don't give you a whole lot of instruction.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, because I've seen it in first person. I've helped on many elections, and then when I ran, we saw it firsthand. Remember they had a week of early voting when I ran, so people had 10 days to essentially go out and vote. So we were talking to people online when they were waiting online to vote, and the vast majority didn't even know I was part of the election. All they knew that the presidential election was going on. I was like,
exactly.
Do you know who your congressperson is? No. Do you know?
No.
Do you know they're up for election today? No, I had no idea. I'm like,
Exactly.
well, I'm the guy running against the. They're like, oh, cool, I'll vote for you. Like, I just thought it was the presidential. Like, they didn't even know. They didn't even know. Yeah.
And that happens like every single time, and it's always like that.
Yeah, very very scary.
Few people actually go out and look at who's running and what their platform is and what their stance is on issues. They just, I mean, that's why we have such a small turnout for voters anyway.
You should have to watch like a 10-minute video before you can vote. That's
well, I think that they should at least put it on
each candidate gets to post a 1 minute.
I think they should at least put it on the local news, and have it, especially on the public stations, the public TV stations should have at least all the candidates.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to vote until you watch all videos by all candidates, 1 minute long.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I think that they should have
a voting booth and it plays the video. You can't hit vote until you watch them all.
Oh my god.
No, I don't think
that's so terrible.
They would play ads before that.
What's that?
They would play ads before you can vote.
Right. Sponsored by Cake Wallet. Dude, you're spot on with your comments. I wish he was here to push back, but I mean, the answer is it's an education issue.
Exactly,
it needs to be
it is, and I'm just saying that it would be. I mean, it's already difficult enough to get people out to vote. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to add extra rules to it.
They're definitely
that people won't know. It's like, oh, now I got to take a test. That's what it looks like. When you first look at it, it's like, now I got to take a test. Multiple choice test.
I don't know. I have to see how I think they simplify. Like, I don't know, but I hear you. And it's so sad, though, right? Like, we have to make it so simple that I don't know. Do we want people voting that can't figure it out? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, but
like you should know what you might
disagree.
Like, we don't want to be giving. I want as many people as possible to vote, but not if they don't realize even what they're like doing in the like. That's not helping democracy. I don't know.
I agree.
But people need to do their homework. We need educated voters.
Well, I agree, but how do you educate them? That's the thing. And would they even go for it? Most people aren't very good citizens anyway. So, we dropped the civics classes in schools. So now we don't have that kind of education anymore.
I mean, you have to pass a test to drive, right? Like, why don't you? Maybe there should be some basic criteria that you need before you're allowed to. This is a very controversial topic.
Well, when I was going to school, we learned all that in like elementary and middle and high school. Those years is when we learned how our voting system works, how our government works, and all that. I don't think they get those classes anymore.
Yeah.
It's like sad, really.
Yeah.
We have people immigrating to America that knows more about our government than we do.
Right.
Than most citizens that grew up here do.
In ancient Greece, everybody had to vote, right? It was like mandated, wasn't it? Like essentially.
Yeah, I think so. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
All right. We have
we have aFungible. Hey,
Popped
man.
in.
Yeah, hi guys. I saw that you had some questions, so I just was following.
It's on the lookout.
Great job, man. So there's a lot going on in terms of price, especially on the macro level. Dude, I can't figure it out. I feel like that there's so many different opinions right now on where the economy is headed? Ultimately, what you think it's recession for U.S. like pretty much guaranteed?
Well,
Sure.
that's what everybody's talking about. Um, that's what everybody's talking about, and yeah, we have to look at the data. We have to look at the numbers. I
But like,
think
how does the Fed get itself out of this? Like, when
we
have we been in this scenario where we're going into a recession and we can't lower interest rates? Has that
well,
what is the
interest rates.
historical comparison?
Well, we had this. This is not the first time the inflation is this high. It's happened in history. In fact, if it dates back to 1970s, where really we had really high inflation, and they had to increase the interest rates. So at some point, it will
But at
peak.
a time where we were entering a recession, right? Now, like we they just don't have the ability to turn on the spigot, which is normally what's needed to, right?
Yeah, that's true. So it's just going to be a fine balance between, that's what they're doing. The inflation goes up, they increase the interest rates because there is nothing much they can do that way. This is
Mm-hmm.
the only thing, and they can wait and watch. So yeah, it's we don't know, but from the data, it looks like that's the best thing they can do.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, what are the odds that we go below? We find a new low for Bitcoin. What are you thinking at this point?
I mean, if you look at the how the whole crypto ecosystem is behaving, the new people are looking for entry point. So once it goes anywhere below 20,000, we're going to get some kind of FOMO crowd in. So how low it goes, again, I think I'm sticking to something like 15,000, 16,000. That's the lowest I could think of. Probably it can go below that, but again, it should be short lived in my opinion.
And really, the macro is what's going to control Bitcoin at this point, right? It's like completely tethered to that, right?
Yes, it's going to control, but when the recovery happens, I think crypto, Bitcoin, etc., is going to be the first one to recover back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a growing ecosystem. Yeah, and stocks are probably boring. People are realizing that this is probably a best way to lose money fast and also gain money fast. So it's more psychological, I believe.
Yeah. Individual A, what's going on? Thanks, aFungible.
Yeah, hi there. Now that I see that aFungible is online, I just had to jump on the show, and because I have a specific question. In your price report, you had the volume, and it was determined by all those centralized exchanges and everything. And well, the question is, we always promote not to use centralized exchanges. If we get to the point that we trade peer-to-peer over local Monero or similar things, or decentralized liquidity provided pools and everything, how do we get the grabs on the volume? How can we determine the price? Because prices we see online are always like on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. These are generated by centralized exchanges. So how do we get away from that? And is it even possible? What is your idea on it?
Well, I think you're right. I agree with you on that. Right now, we have the volumes easily. We can get that from the centralized like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. That's what we have at hand. I don't know how to get the volumes from decentralized. Surely there will be a way to extract that data uh, through some
You can just go to thoughtchain.swap, I think, and they have volume of like some few millions. You can just look it up. I'm sure they have an API.
Yeah, exactly. The API part, I think that it'll be nice for somebody to gather all these APIs and gather all the volumes, so we can have something like CoinGecko decentralized.com or something, and somebody can list all the volumes from decentralized exchanges. So yeah, API can be a good way to, but I've never done that.
Good question. Individual A, anything else?
What else is hi everybody? I love your show today. I just wanted to watch. To watch, and then I saw aFungible coming up, and just now when the price report was running, this question popped up in my mind.
Okay, I'm just reading comments here. Nightmare saying he loves bear markets.
I love bear markets so much,
actually,
and it hasn't even begun yet.
Yeah, so yeah, he's like, we were in the same situation 2001 and 8. BTC is going back to 8K, XMR to $40. Ooh,
whoa!
I don't know, man.
Jeez.
Would be fun though. I think you just want to accumulate some Monero, man. You're hoping for cheap prices.
Let me say this: people who are sitting really on cash, they really love the bear markets.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I got some. I'm looking to buy some cheap Monero.
Are you really?
But you know that's why it's probably not going to go down though. There's a lot of people that have this sentiment, so I think there is a decent floor there, right? What do you think, aFungible or individual?
Well, I'm not really looking for $40 at the moment. I should hit the ceiling.
Not 40.
Like that's a little too low.
Hey, you know.
But I'm the lowest I'm looking for is something like $80 because $120 was not really holding up too well. It was, that was only holding up because of the entire market. But I would like to see the entire crypto market crash down and Monero find its own level. I think that'll be the level. But I think I'm sticking to something like $120 for now.
And Monero hit some new all-time highs in transaction count, right?
Yeah, I'm not really counting on that. Yeah.
It was just this week they hit a new all-time high.
Yeah, because today it was 28,000 back again. So, you have to see the average of the weekly average rather than like, it's exciting. It's fun. But,
right.
Well, my point is that it's always good to have a good balance between your crypto holdings and have some, I call it dry powder at the side, some cash you can use when the dip is coming. And then the only question is when do you pull the trigger? When is the point where you have to buy? And the other way around is just important. Take your gains. When it goes up, don't try to time the market and wait all the way to the peak. On the way, dollar cost average in and out. That's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Poland has a question.
Poland, what's up?
Did you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I have tried to some mine of Monero by last month, trying to different pool, and I have question about the dominating pool called MineXMR.com, which have around 40% of the hash power. So my question is that is still decentralized mining of the Monero about this situation? It is still decentralized.
Are you concerned that one pool is gaining too much mining hash power? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. MB, you got any comments on that, or anybody want to?
Hell yeah. So other than with Bitcoin, Monero miners are obviously people who have like one PC they're mining on. There's not many farms. It's like two guys on YouTube who have like a rack full of Ryzens, but there's no big mining corporations, unlike with Bitcoin, where in Bitcoin a pool is mostly maintained by one company. If one pool had 40% of the hash rate, it's probably one company who had that much hash rate. But in Monero, it's like, I think it's 14,000 different miners on MineXMR. And they could all change within minutes if they wanted to. So if the pool does go malicious, it would obviously be very noticeable because they would have to drop out of the network to mine a side chain first for a 51% attack. So you would see that the Monero hash rate rapidly drops off, and then another chain gets published sometime later. So it would be very obvious, and you could easily swap pools. And other than that, it also wouldn't actually be that bad because there's not many places you could actually make a big profit out of doing a 51% attack. So if you have the power to control that, it's probably a worse idea to throw it away on a 51% attack than to just profit off the like fees and other stuff. It's the same reasoning as for why botnets wouldn't try to attack the Monero network, because they can just mine, they get passive income. They wouldn't want to destroy that.
Awesome, man.
And
about
the fee.
pool. Wait, hold on, Poland, 1 second. Hold. About P2 pool, isn't there some hope there with it essentially preventing?
Oh yeah, if P2 pool should ever get more than 50% of the hash rate, Monero essentially becomes they can't 51% attack it anymore once P2 pool has the majority of hash rate.
Is P2 pool, it's continuing to see some growth, right? It's accelerating in its growth.
Maybe one thing I want to say is, like, I agree with MB. I think Monerotopia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think even if MineXMAR gets something like 51% or even 60 or 70%, I wouldn't be too much worried, because it will be noticeable on chain, the double spend. And I mean, I think they want to keep making passive income in the future, so they will be boycotted or something happens. So I'm not too much worried about that. And as per the P2 pool growth, I think the growth is happening, but it's very organic. So for it to reach 50%, I think it's going to take quite some time.
Yeah, it's not growing that much in terms of hash rate, but it's also very hidden away. Even though it's in the Monero GUI, it's quite hidden away in the advanced tab under mining somewhere. So, but there's also been like pull requests, I think, to have it move to simple mode. So you could mine to P2 pool from simple mode without having to download the whole blockchain.
That will be big. Yeah. Well, what else do you think is the holdup? I mean, because economically it makes sense. Like all the incentives are there to just use P2 pool. So why it's just laziness or just friction in starting it up?
I think
Probably.
one thing which I find irresponsible from MineXMR, they have the lever where they can adjust the fees. If they would raise their fees, people would go off their pool, because they pay too much fees for whatever. In other pools, you get less fees. So they actually could influence it. I think they have risen it by I think. Point something percent points, so I think this is from their part, it's responsible. We have the organic growth on P2 pool. I think if it moves to simple mode, this will go faster, and I think this is the right way as well. Yeah, that's my few ideas, my 2 cents.
And also one thing I noticed is that the website of P2 pool is I mean, it's not very presentable. So I think that is some work they can do there, if I remember seeing it last time.
aFungible, always a straight shooter.
All right.
All right, guys. Yeah. Anybody else want to comment? This was a marathon show.
Yes, it was.
A lot of information. Sorry for the technical difficulties with the stream.
I have a second question.
Go for it.
So the Monero is like privacy tool. So to use Monero, we should have something which are capable to Monero, like
you're breaking up.
Cake wallet, you need mobile phone, for example. So which phones are recommended, or software or ROMs for the Monero? More open source ROMs like Calyx or Graphene or something like that with privacy focused.
I think the right answer is depends on your threat scenario, depends on your needs. How much privacy do you need? I mean, it's great that Monero.com, the Cake wallet, runs on iOS, runs on Android, so it's accessible for the majority, right? very few people need so much privacy that they even stay away from Android systems and choose other systems like Graphene, Open OS, and stuff like that. So it's actually a question of how much privacy do you need, I would say.
Yeah, for safety, you should also consider that you shouldn't store your life savings in like a mobile wallet. Maybe get
True.
a hardware wallet for that, or just paper wallet, even though those are less usable.
True. It's a wallet. It's put as much cash in it as you would carry cash around when you go to a certain occasion. If I if I'm on a 2-week holiday, I take a little bit more, and if I go to a party, then I don't take so much cash because I don't want to spend all of it or lose it.
General consensus is that mobile phones are a privacy nightmare, and it doesn't really matter if you put Graphene OS on it. You should still don't put your life savings on a mobile wallet.
All righty.
All right, guys. Anybody else want any last comments before we close it out?
Well, I would have loved to join the political discussion about the voting and everything, but it's too much politics. So maybe in another show,
another day,
another topic.
We'll definitely have him back on again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're gonna.
Right?
But I like the rank your vote thing. It's a great idea. And yes, it is an educational problem. Democracy only works with a population which is educated and has the resources to get the information they need to make a good decision. That's to sum it up.
All right. Anybody else?
How about representing value of Monero by resources, meaning that one Monero is have value equivalent to 1 barrel of oil?
I mean, we kind of have that with Monero is equivalent to a certain amount of electricity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is because dollars or any fiat money can be printed and inflated because of the world debt. So if Fed print another $10 trillion, that's meaning the 100 of Monero will be worth it. What exactly?
Yeah, the thing is that dollars or fiat, euros or whatever currency you're using in your country is the unit of account for your reality. This is you calculate in euros and dollars and everything. So it would be nice to get to a place where we say, okay, how much do I pay in Monero for a bottle of milk? But we will not get there so fast, and it's far off. To tie it to other assets like oil or like electricity, that's the same with gold. How much does it cost to mine and process 1 ounce of gold? Is that the realistic price which we see on the market? Is it too low? Is it too high? What is the environmental effect on it and the cost there? A lot of questions go in there. So in an ideal world, if I want to dream, if I'm in Monerotopia, then Monero will be the unit of account and everything we value against Monero. But we have a long way.
Just start seeing the world in Monero. That's what I do.
Yeah, you'd have to make Monero your yardstick for everything.
Exactly.
Oh,
it all depends on your yardstick as to what you see as more important, or what you see as that you measure everything else by.
Yep. 100%. All right, guys. This is a great conversation. We're gonna close it out. It's getting a little hot over here.
Yeah.
The world is on fire, guys.
It is.
We're waiting on Biden to pass some executive order to save us all from global
enough.
warming. All right.
Anywho,
we're gonna close it out.
Thank
you so much, everybody. This was a great show. Everybody that came on, really appreciate it. aFungible, thanks as always for doing the price report. We'll post that separately, guys.
And the news segment, we're going to be posting.
Tony, thanks for the news segment. We're
you.
very excited. Sorry that we messed it up on our end and we didn't properly display it despite all your efforts. We'll get better at that. Thanks, guys. Yeah, just this week, keep an eye. We're going to be posting a ton of content from Freedom Fest.
Yeah, one at a time. But first
awesome.
one should be...
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks for having us. Great show.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good weekend,
Cheers.
guys. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Later.
Take care, guys.
Later.
Really like
Thank you for joining
Nightmare
us
says...
on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.